Welcome to the Juliet Talk Show, and I'm Juliet. I'll start by thanking you for watching our videos and reminding each and every one of you, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe, share with others, and like. In case if you have anything you want to tell us, please do write to us by mailing, or you can call us so that you can advise us what we can be better off. And if you have any topic which you want us to bring up, please let us know. Thank you. We are living in foreign countries, some of us, and some of us are living home, like in Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, and everywhere you are, or the US. But how can we raise our children? We are the people who who are living in two different cultures, sometimes three, depending on whom you are married to. It can happen that you are from Africa and you are married to someone who is from South America, and you are living in Europe, like Sweden here, where we are living, we are based right now. How can we bring up our children so that they become responsible people in the society? Today, we have our guest, Mr. Freddy Chitonsa. Please introduce yourself to our viewers, and thank you for coming to the Juliet Talk Show.
Oh, thank you, viewers, our wonderful viewers. You're most welcome. My name is Freddy Chitonsa, probably nicknamed Saratom Kerekere. These ones, I will not go into details at the moment, I think due to lack of time. Juliet, I'm really privileged to be here and to have the opportunity to give my views about the children brought here.
Yes.
It's a wonderful and a very interesting topic, because we like this without knowing. But if we have people who can highlight the different difficulties and how to try to get rid of them. I was born in Uganda, and I come from an ethnic group of the Baganda.
Okay, you are welcome.
Thank you.
And as we are talking about cultures, he has a very beautiful, what do we call it, garment. Yeah, he has a very beautiful garment. And can you explain a little about this garment which you are putting on today?
Okay, this is actually a typical. This is a typical Baganda dress. People living in Uganda. It was actually invented by the King of Buganda. It was called King of Buganda.
Okay.
From his subjects, he found that it was absolutely necessary for the Ugandans not to stay naked. And this is the real ecological kind of dress called a kanzu. And it's very important, especially these days when people go to introduce, or when they go to be introduced, they have to put on this important garment. It comes from a tree called Intua tree. It's like a fig tree. So they take off the bark of it, and then they go and they hammer it.
Okay.
They use what we call in some, it's a hammer. So,
Okay.
So I don't have any other name in English because
All right.
I don't think it's found anywhere in other countries.
Okay.
and they have a big log they put down, and then they hammer it.
All right.
And every time they hammer it,
Okay.
it becomes wider and wider. And then after that, it's always white. Then they take it out to the sun,
All right.
and the exchange of different components,
Okay.
it gains this beautiful color. It's natural. It's not painted. So it's a real ecological cloth without anything else.
That's beautiful. That's nice. Okay, and going back to our subject about the children. As we are living here, we have children, 3 different categories of children here. We have the children who immigrated here with their parents. That means they can be between 4 to up to 18. We have children who are born here, but in most cases, both children, they find it kind of difficult to communicate with the parents because of the cultures. All the day the children are in school. They start from kindergarten and they join school. They are in the society. We talk about those who are born here. They are in the society. They have friends and they are in the Swedish society. But at home, it's different. You speak a different language. You speak your mother language. If you are from Kenya, you speak Swahili, and if you are from depending on where you are coming from. So, how can the children communicate and understand the parents, and the parents understand the children? These days, a lot of children are having a lot of problems, psychological problems. Some joined different bad groups. To prevent this, how can we work together to help the society and to help our children in the society?
Actually, this is a very wide topic, and I do appreciate that you have brought such a topic here. It's a worldwide phenomenon, and the problem created, but I'm very glad that the countries which I am do appreciate these problems. They are trying to find a kind of medicine for it. For example, if you come here, the society here or the authority here try their level best to make sure that they teach you your own language. They will always find teachers to teach you your own language so that you cannot forget your background before you can integrate it into the society here. They found it easier for children, even when they are learning a language, they find it much easier when they got a background of their own language, and it helps them to go ahead. At the same time, this helps these children to be able to speak their language, the language here, with better pronunciation, with a better living system, and they know that we are adapting this system from here. So they can compare the two, and they will be in a state of don't know what a state of equilibrium, state of balancing, that way. So that's why we do appreciate what the society here is doing, because I remember they had about almost 300 languages here, taught here. Children are not forbidden to do that.
No.
To help them to come up, to adapt here and there, and then in the end, they will be able to find a balance.
The other thing which I was wondering about, in most cases, the children who are between 10 and maybe 18, you can find other times they start denying their background.
Yes.
And they start getting ashamed of what they are. How can we explain that? How do we explain that? That they start to feel uncomfortable with what they are.
Actually, the problem starts with our home leaders. Because in places where we come from,
Yes.
these people have termed it, they have actually termed it, if you speak in your language,
Yeah.
they will say you are what?
You are illiterate, or can I call it illiterate, or what, green?
Discriminating.
Okay.
They call it discrimination. You don't have to speak this language. But you see, way back, when probably the Europeans came in, you were at school, you go to study, and then when you speak your own language, they will give you a punishment at the end of the day. And this inculcated in their heads. And they started hating their own things. They don't appreciate their own things. And even when they go out of the country or travel somewhere else, it's very difficult to find the people who appreciate or take on their, or try to show what is their own background.
But today, I think we are living in a global village. We have a lot of information. I think it should have been a little bit easier for the children to be proud of what they are.
Yes.
So in most cases you find, because myself I have seen, or I have friends which do not want to, one or two friends who do not want to associate with what they are, with their background and what they are, and they are ashamed to tell their story, that maybe I grew up in the village, in the remote village. But for me today, I found it that it's a privilege to grow in the village.
It's actually very important, because we have to teach our children how to popularize their own culture and not be ashamed of their own culture, thinking that it's a kind of or something very inferior. We are all equal. We are made by God. We have the same status. Everything we have, even all the Europeans and other people have the same. So we are all the same. We are born in the same way. And even before maybe some of those guys who came to our countries, they found us, we are treating our people, giving them all the medicine, only to say that our medicines are no good, this and that, but we are surviving. And we are increasing, producing children. For example, I can remember my mother produced 7 children, and when she produced 7 children, she never went to the hospital at all. How did she do it? The children were very healthy. Probably some of them died at the age of 80, 70, like that. So we should be also able, especially when we have these land people, they should realize that they should work together with those people using, for example, herbals, because they are there to cure people. But when the time comes and we teach our children to know that they can also be much better than the other societies. And also, where these children go, the people there should teach them to learn that they also have good cultures. So these cultures can be put together with the new cultures, and then they will be able to go or forge ahead.
Okay, and so the problem lies, can we say that it's from the homes, that how the parents should teach the children how to teach the children to embrace their background, or whom do we put the blame to? Why their children do feel the way they feel?
Actually, I can't blame the parents for one thing. When a child is born here, she'll be taken to the nursery, and the nursery she'll find a different culture, and home if she has a different culture.
Yes.
And when they start to combine the two, because they spend more time at school, then they will prefer to adapt to the system from
you're
the
living
school.
in. Yeah.
Now, that is the dilemma.
And
how can we tackle that one?
But there's no wrong, because when you're living in the system, you have to adapt the system, you have to behave. This is what you know, because the thing, when I traveled to Uganda, the thing which I found out is, when you're living in another country, you behave differently.
Yes.
And when you go home, when you go to your motherland country, they expect you to be thinking, behaving the way they behave.
Yeah.
But which is not right, because when a child is born here and they know nothing, they know only the system which they are living in, or they are brought in. How can we balance these things? So I think it's a kind of a very tricky question, really, because when, like here, the parents who immigrated here, you are born here as a child, and the parents, what they have in their heads is the system which they grow up in. And it's very difficult to change that system. Like, mostly, I'll give an example, like in Uganda, that you have to respect your parents. You cannot answer your parents. You can not argue with your parents. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. But here, you reason with your parents. You discuss with your parents, and you're friends somehow. You're friends.
Yeah,
which is different from the other cultures. And it makes it kind of difficult to the parents to understand. Pouring ropes, pouring here, pouring there. You cannot answer me this way. But I have not done any wrong. At our home we don't answer our people like that.
The problem is that the major problem we have is whoever approaches us wants to inculcate his culture into the society in that area, instead of trying to combine the two and have a mixture. But there is one other big problem. The children born here, when they happen to travel to their homeland or their parents' homeland, they find it very difficult to adapt to themselves, because the standards you find there are very different from the standards here. So this is where you have wonderful standards, and the poor standards down there makes a very big difference, and that one usually make the children be ashamed that they would, oh, I'll never go back there. But then when they grow a little bit bigger, they will appreciate the things in their own, and they adapt to the environment, and they love it, and they would like to go inside for a change. When they look at the greens, when they look at the wonderful small, probably small houses and the bigger houses here, they like to enjoy and change the environment and the living system. So that's why you see most of the old people, when they grow old, they won't go back home and live there. Yes. So I think what we can do now is try to combine the social status and the social status within our homes, because when we come here, you don't want to bring the things produced in your own country. For example, when I look at my country, I found they got wonderful drums. They were very creative. But these days, the children are just using machines. Instead of using their brain, the machines are helping them to, well, for example, take mathematics. When you are doing mathematics, for us as old people, we used to think using our brains. These days, machines are the ones producing everything. Now, how can you? It becomes difficult to equate each and everything you find there. But then we have to help our children when we are at home. We teach them how to learn our own languages, that I will be able to make them remember. Look at
when you immigrate here, to try to try to understand the children, because this mentality of at hours we used to do like this at hours we used to do like that, they have to learn to balance because the children are born here, they know nothing, and we are in the society. They are trying to those who came here when they are a little bit older, they are trying to adapt the system. So we have to balance so that they can live the cultures, they can live parallel like this together, side by side. The cultures can live. We can move on with two different cultures side by side. It can be combined, so we can help out somehow. And I have a question here from one of our viewers. She's called Irina. She wrote to me, "Hello Juliet, I watched your video about teaching our children, giving them a good background. But don't you think that sometimes society also contributes towards what they grow into? I'm not sure, but as a single mother, most times I wonder what my son is going to grow into, scared that the society is going to spoil him." What answer can we give to Irina about the society?
Actually, that lady is worried about the situation. I would rather call it environment, because what the children are in a certain environment, and that environment, you cannot compare it to our environment at home. What we have to do is, we as parents should try as much as possible to show these children what our environment is. And then we will be able to teach them and tell them that, okay, ours is like this and this and this. Because when we want our children to adapt to the system, they have nothing to compare with unless they travel home.
Yeah.
So they must have a comparison before we can try to make sure that we combine the two different societies. So, and then another thing is poverty has brought a big problem to the children. Where are the children?
I'm sorry, are we talking of the children in Africa or the children here?
All over the world.
All over the world.
All over the world.
All right.
Because the children could be, they are never intended. And they have much more time to associate with bad characters. You know, everywhere, a bad thing is always the best.
Yeah, that's true.
A bad thing is always the best. You can look at the children. When a child is born, you know what it starts with?
Crying.
Instead of laughing. Why shouldn't it laugh when she comes out? So all the bad things are the ones we adapt.
Okay.
When you go to see films, the children will like these films where they are fighting, they are doing this, and they are beautiful. I say, when he sees another film, he say, I don't like it. It's not good. It's not action. Oh, I saw a movie of action, and this is what they appreciate.
Yeah.
Instead of appreciating things that will make them progress. Distractions. When you look at this world, instead of saying, okay, we can negotiate for 20 years, they just, within 2 days, we went to negotiate. No, we can't agree. Let's fight. So we look for the worst or the bad things, and we make them our kind of living. The minute we come to our senses and say that it's much better to do things that can develop us. That will be very important.
Okay, the answer we give to Irene now is that what kind advice can we give her that because she's scared of her son or daughter.
I think it's very simple. She has to try also to live with the people of our society, bring them together, and then and also try to bring some of the things at home, and teach the child to be able to live with different things. Instead of trying to look at one side. You see, when you come here, you see all the beautiful buildings, or you go to the houses, you never see anything from their own home showing that our home looks like this and this. Never. They will not show it. And I think we should try to make them all travel home and make these children share, enjoy, talks with their own people, and tell them stories about home. We never tell them stories about our home.
Okay. And it's important that we teach our children to associate with others, to adapt cultures, but you have to know your own culture. If you have 2 cultures or 3 cultures, to embrace them, because you are lucky to have 3 different cultures. That means maybe you are speaking about 3 languages. You are lucky to have that, and you have to be proud of that, or to be proud of what you have. And it's not easy. In each and every country there are difficulties, and we are facing, all of us, we are facing the same problems. Because when you talk with friends in the US, when you talk with friends in Australia, in Africa, everywhere we are facing the same problems with the children, with the economy, with everything. So we have to learn to teach the best, to do the best we can to teach our children.
Yeah, it's very important.
The
You talked about the language. Language. For example, for me, I can speak 5 languages. I can greet in 17 languages. So just to greet. So it's important that we teach our children their own language.
With that, we have to close up because of time, and we thank you. I would like to thank our guest, Mr. Fred Chitonsa, for being with us today, and he'll be coming back so that we can discuss more about our children, raising our children, and how we can move on with different cultures. Thank you, Mr. Fred, and thank you, our viewers. Please remember to subscribe and to share with others. See you soon with part 2. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.